Hey guys, I am going to explain semicolons in this little screencast because I do think there was some confusion just reading through that information. The thing with semicolons is they're actually very simple, but people are very scared of them because no one ever really knows exactly how they're used. So this little presentation here does a really great job of just simply explaining how we use a semicolon. So first slide here just says semicolons can be used in lists to outrank any commas that appear in list items. Basically, what you need to think here is if you have a sentence with a lot of commas, like this is when it says, when this happens, you can use semicolons to separate the list items. So like city and states, for example, you always put a comma between a city and a state. So if you were listing out a lot of cities and states, there would be a lot of commas in between there. So in between like the city and state pair, you could use a semicolon. So it's just, again, to keep information more organized. That is one way to use a semicolon, okay? And that happens sometimes, but that's probably not the main use of a semicolon. This one is the main use of a semicolon, and this is where people get really confused and they don't know if they should use it. But basically a semicolon joins two sentences, okay? And there's a few things that I just said that I have to explain. It has to be two complete sentences, okay? So basically two independent clauses, if you've heard that phrase before. If you just put a comma here, so let's look at this example here. It was serious, period. She broke a toe. Those are closely related ideas, so it would sound better if we joined them together. We can't just put a comma there though, or that's a comma splice, and that creates a run-on sentence. We see this a lot in high school writing. We see a lot of sentence fragments and run-ons. So the easy solution is just use a semicolon, okay? It was serious, she broke a toe. There should be a period there, but anyway. So that is the main use of a semicolon and the main misuse that people make of semicolons, okay? So you have to have two complete sentences, two independent clauses. They could stand alone, they could be their own sentence, but you want to join them together because they're closely related in the idea that they are conveying, okay? Hopefully that clears it up a little bit. Again, if you just put a comma there, and I see this happen all the time, probably the most common grammar error I see. If you just put a comma there, it is a comma splice, which creates a run-on sentence, okay? So I feel like that's the main thing that we need to know. A semicolon can also be used before transitional phrases. So let's look at this example here. She broke her toe, semicolon. As a result, comma, the game was canceled. Now, that is a transitional phrase. However, if you take that transitional phrase out, the game was canceled, that could be a standalone sentence. So again, we threw in a transitional phrase, but after that phrase, we have an independent clause. So again, we're not doing anything really different. There's just a transitional phrase involved there, okay? But the game was canceled could be a standalone sentence, okay? So again, semicolon, all right? Okay, last thing here, you don't want to use a semicolon for an introduction. Like, in my opinion, the best three films are, and then you have a list. That's where a colon comes in. We're not getting into colons just yet. But we don't want to use it like that, okay? So to recap, we use a semicolon when we are listing out a lot of things that have commas in them, cities and states. We use a semicolon to join two independent clauses, two clauses that could stand alone as a complete sentence. And then three, same thing, but we can also use it with a transitional phrase in the middle there too, okay? If you don't know what a complete sentence is, if you can't identify a sentence fragment, then we're gonna need to backtrack a little bit more and talk about run-ons and fragments. But the very basic thing is that a sentence needs a subject and a verb. Okay, you have to have something, doing something, or having something done to it. Okay, so if you have questions about that, please email me individually, and we'll talk more about that. But hopefully this helps, and I'm opening the quiz back up, guys, to give you a couple more attempts. If you are happy with your score from the first time, though, you don't have to retake it. Okay.